Should you be running multiple A/B experiments at the same time or simultaneously? The simple answer is yes. However, there are certain things that you have to keep in mind so you don't end up ruining your data. Now, if you visit Facebook or Amazon and you start navigating through their sites, you are probably going to be part of anywhere between 10 to 50 different experiments that they are running simultaneously. We work at any point in time with anywhere from 16 to 20 different companies, helping them improve their site conversion rates, and in 99% of the cases, we are running simultaneous experiments. In this video, I'm going to explain to you some of the ground rules that govern running multiple A/B experiments so you make sure that your results are valid at the end of the program. Hello everyone, this is Khalid with Invesp. This channel is all about helping you improve your site conversion rates so you can make more money online. Now we do that by sharing the best tools, strategies, and tactics on how to do that. If you are new to this channel, I'd love for you to subscribe and of course to like and comment on this video. Let's jump right in. Let me start with an example. We wanted to see the impact of showing the shipping date on the conversion rate for an e-commerce website, on the product pages, on the cart page, on the checkouts. Now, instead of running a single experiment across multiple pages, the team made a mistake and they decided to run 3 separate A/B experiments, one on the product pages, one on the cart page, and one on the checkouts. Now, as we ran the experiment, one thing that we did not think about is that a person might land on the product pages and they'll see variation 1, which shows them the shipping dates, and then they navigate to the cart page and now they are part of another experiment and they might see the control that doesn't show the shipping date, and then they go to the checkout and they'll see a third variation. So while we had 3 different experiments, those experiments were interacting with each other, and in reality we had a lot more variations than what we had originally accounted for. The correct way would have been to run what we call a multi-page experiment. It's a single test showing the shipping dates, but it is an experiment that is running on the product pages, on the cart, and on the checkout at the same time. Now, someone might tell me that this is a silly example because we are testing the same hypothesis on multiple pages and we decided to run them in multiple A/B experiments that are running simultaneously. I completely agree, but let me give you a different example and a mistake that many companies fall into. Let's assume that you want to run a test on the homepage and you are going to be testing different headlines for the homepage. At the same time, you want to run a different test on the product pages and maybe you are testing how the product page options are getting displayed. It sounds like you are testing 2 different hypotheses on 2 completely different pages. There is a problem there as well. If both A/B experiments are sharing the same goal, and let's say in this case, both of these experiments are measuring the impact on the overall conversion rate for the site. So the A/B experiment for the homepage, the conversion goal for it is how many more orders we are getting. And at the same time, you are using the same goal for your product page test, where you are trying to measure the impact of that A/B test that is running on the product pages, testing that by measuring the impact of the overall site conversion rate. Let's take a simple scenario where somebody lands on the homepage, they might see the control and they're really not impacted by the control. They go all the way to the product pages and they see one of the variants and that variant actually impacts them in converting. We have a conversion that is triggered when somebody places an order. Yet that conversion is getting counted for 2 different experiments. It is counted correctly for the A/B test that is running on the product pages, and at the same time it is counted incorrectly for the A/B experiments that is running on the homepage. I hope that you see the issue that we might end up with over here. Now, let's hope I did not scare you about running simultaneous A/B experiments at the same time. Let me give you some rules that you want to follow to simplify your life. Let's start with a simple case where your site gets a ton of conversions every month. What do I mean by a ton of conversions? At least probably 2,500 to 3,000 conversions per month, or even more than that. And let's also assume that the A/B testing software that you use allows you to create what we call mutually exclusive groups. Then running simultaneous A/B tests only makes sense for you. What do I mean by mutually exclusive groups? You see that in most A/B testing software. Now, some software packages charge charge you for it. Some software packages, it comes just available to everybody, and that is something that you get with FigPie. In this case, when a visitor lands on your website and you have the mutually exclusive groups running, if a visitor is included as part of an A/B experiment and then they navigate to another page where you are running another A/B experiment, because they are part of this mutually exclusive group, they are not going to be included in the A/B experiment that is running on the second page. Now, what is the downside of having mutually exclusive groups running at the same time? It is going to slow down your A/B testing experimentation. Your testing velocity is going to slow down. That is the reason I started by asking how many conversions you have per month, and that's the reason you want to cross that threshold of 2,500 or 3,000 conversions per month, so you are still able to run exclusive A/B experiments and you're able to conclude those experiments in a reasonable amount of time. Now, let's take the other scenario where, well, I don't have enough conversions per month. I might have 1,500 conversions, I might have 1,000 conversions, or maybe my A/B testing software does not support mutually exclusive groups. Does that mean I should avoid running simultaneous A/B experiments? Not so quick. Let's run through different scenarios. The very first scenario is a very simple one. Let's say you want to run multiple experiments on the same page. So I will take maybe the home page and I want to test the hero image on that home page, and I want to run a separate A/B experiment on the home page, but I'm going to hit maybe the testimonial section on that home page. So those are multiple A/B experiments hitting the same page. And while it sounds like these experiments are testing different things on the home page, and while it sounds like that those experiments are testing different things on the same page, the reality is there is some level of interaction between those different A/B experiments, whether you like it or not. So in this case, you want to create a new A/B experiment that includes all the different variants and the interaction between these variants, and this way you avoid having multiple experiments running on the same page. Let's take another example. Let's say we are testing the same element or the same hypothesis on multiple pages, like the example I started this video with. So in that example, again, we were testing showing the shipping dates, and we were testing that on the product pages, we were testing that on the cart page, and then we're testing it during the checkout. And in this case, you do not want to be running multiple A/B experiments simultaneously. Go back to the drawing board and you need to create what we call a multi-page A/B experiment. And in this case, it's an A/B experiment that runs across 3 different pages. So the visitor who views the shipping date on the PDP might view the shipping date also on the cart page, and then they'll view the shipping date on the checkout process. Now remember, if your A/B experiment on one page had 3 different variants and your A/B experiment on the second page had 4 different variants and on the third page 2 different variants, the new multi-page test will have a total of 3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2, 24 different variants. So it is naturally going to be a slow experiment, and that will force you to think through the different variants that you have and to remove some of those variants. Now let's go to the third scenario where you are looking at running multiple A/B experiments on multiple pages. However, the hypotheses are completely different. You are not testing the same thing. However, you have the problem that these experiments share the same conversion goal. In that case, you have 3 different options. First option, you will have to run those A/B experiments sequentially. Run the first A/B experiment, wait until it reaches conclusion, and then I will launch the second A/B experiment. The second option, if experiments are sharing the same conversion goal, is to go back and rely on mutually exclusive groups if your A/B testing software supports that. And the third option, you start by running the first A/B experiments, but you don't wait for it to conclude completely. You might run it until you've collected about 70 or 80% of the sample size, and that's when you launch your second A/B experiment. You know that there's some sort of impact due to the fact that you're launching those at the same time. However, the interaction time hopefully is limited, so you keep an eye on the data. The third option that you have is you launch your first A/B experiment, you run it until it collects about 70 to 80% of its sample size, and then leaving it on, you launch the second A/B experiment. So there is some sort of interaction between the first and the second A/B experiment, and what you have to do is to keep an eye on the data to see if launching the second A/B experiment had significantly changed how your variations in the first experiment are performing. It is not an optimal solution. However, it is a solution that gives you some level of A/B testing velocity, which is something that is very critical in an A/B testing program. Now, Now, let me turn it over to you, and let's be honest over here. Have you fallen into some of the mistakes I've mentioned in this video? Go ahead and comment and let us know. Or if you think I've missed a point, please let us know. Until next time, happy testing.